welcome to another episode of Remembering Who I Am. And today we're going to talk about what is heaven and what is hell. Well, within the context we're talking here, heaven is not a place that we go to after we die, nor hell is a place that we go to after we die. Heaven and hell is basically refers to a state of mind. Meaning, right now, if the mind is resting in a space, a peaceful space, it is experiencing heaven. If the mind is in conflict, it is experiencing hell. Now, let's look at this a little bit more deeply. The remembrance of who I am, you see, which that cannot be described. It's space, unicity, oneness, love, God, divinity. See, that is what I am. Okay? And that is heaven. So basically, it's not that I am in heaven, it's that heaven is what I am. However, when the mind believes that is something separate from it, in this case, a body, an individual, that is the experience of hell. You see, this has nothing to do with fire or devil or something like that. It has to do with the belief that I'm separate from totality. That is the experience of hell. It's like when you're dreaming a dream. The mind that is dreaming the dream is heaven, because it's one, it's all there is. The moment the mind begins to dream a dream, that belief, that dream is an illusion, is a projection, but the mind believes in it. That is the experience of hell. That's why hell is really a belief. Heaven is truth. Hell is a belief. It's not even real. Okay? So the interesting thing about it is that when the mind that is dreaming the dream is having a painful dream, it is experiencing hell in a very painful form. When the mind dreams a pleasant dream, believe it or not, this is interesting, it is still experiencing hell, but more comfortable. Why? Because hell has nothing to do with pleasure or pain. Hell has to do with the belief in separation, you see? So right now you can be having a pleasant dream. But, as the Sargadatta Mahara used to say, pleasure is the space or the gap between two pains. Because the human experience is pain, pleasure, you see? So we're not confusing a pleasant dream with heaven. We're just being aware that heaven, being what I am, is a space that it never changes in spite of whatever may be taking place within the space. In other words, pain and pleasure are simply two movements within the space which we refer to as heaven. When the mind becomes conscious of that, it's not that the body will not experience pain and pleasure. Is that the body now, although may be experiencing all these changes, the mind rests in a place of peace. You see, that's why it's called the peace that passes all understanding, because the mind is becoming conscious, is aware of what its true nature is. So that's why this whole experience, this world that we experience, or we experience ourselves as bodies, this is experience of separation. This is what refers to as hell, you see. But when the mind is aware and is conscious of what it is, then this is what is referred to bringing heaven to earth. In other words, it's not that we're trying to bring truth to illusions. That's not what we're talking about. It's not about that. It's just that it's a way of saying that while I'm having the experience of being on earth, while having the experience of the illusory being in a body, or in other words, while having the experience of being separate, meaning in hell and earth, okay, there's a state of mind in which this illusion cannot be a distraction to what I am, you see? And as a result of that, I'm experiencing myself in a state of peace, meaning in heaven, while having the experience of being on earth, in other words, in hell, you see? So, right this instant, if the mind is at peace, you're in heaven, or you're having the experience of heaven. Right in this instant, if the mind is in conflict, you're not in hell, you're having the experience of being in hell. But the truth is that you can never not be outside of heaven, because heaven is what you are. The mind that dreams a dream can dream all sorts of dreams, very painful ones, and it thinks that like hell, very pleasurable ones, that is hell disguised as you know, as a more comfortable, you know, form of a dream, or disguised as heaven, put it this way. But the mind, it's always the mind, and it's always in the same space. It's in bed dreaming the dream. So the mind is always in heaven, no matter what, in spite of whatever is dreaming. Same thing here. It doesn't matter what our human experience may look like. The truth is that what we are has never changed, and it will never change. Now, the way to become conscious of that, okay, now, you know, you've seen in many of the videos, so the few videos that I've done on this series, as of this moment, of this series, as of this moment, we're conscious of the fact that if I am a dream figure, then basically I am not the doer, meaning that life is living me, so I have no choice into matter whether go left or go right, even though if it appears like that, and I'll probably do another video on that one, you know, to be more specific. But what I'm getting at is, it doesn't matter right now. This is the experience that seems to be taking place, meaning that right now, if you are drawn to this kind of information, and I am drawn to share this kind of information, it could be said that the mind is using this context to remind itself that this is all a dream. Okay, so in a sense, to me, that's a reason for celebration, because somehow mind is beginning to become conscious of itself, and is using this experience to, or this illusion or whatever, to awaken from this dream of apparent separation. But anyhow, the way, assuming that we could choose, okay, so again, let's not make a big issue, but it's just a paradox. We have to learn to live with it, of being able to experience heaven while we're having the experience of separation, of hell, is living in complete surrender to what is. In other words, total acceptance to what is. Meaning that this particular instant is just simply what it is. When this instant is withdrawn any meaning, when I don't give any meaning to it, then the mind is resting in that state that we're talking about, which is heaven. The moment we begin to project a meaning to anything, in other words, the moment I begin to believe that I know something, I am already in hell. Even if what I think I know may be pleasant at the moment, it's still, I am in hell, because I'm overlooking the fact that none of this stuff is real, and that nothing means absolutely anything. See? So that is the space in which the mind can rest in peace, in the permanent peace we're talking about. Because this is not about giving a meaning so that I can feel better, oh, now I am at peace. No, I'm just in a temporary, illusory state of peace, but you know what's coming next. The pain is right behind it. Because in the world of duality, pain and pleasure is part of what duality means. So, again, non-duality is the natural state in which I am, but not as a body, just as an essence. And that is something that cannot be even talked about, because again, non-duality is the disappearance of the dream. But while I'm in the dream, or what the mind experiences itself to be a part of a dream, okay, withdrawing meaning to anything is what allows for the mind to not pay attention, not keep the focus on the dream, and then rest in peace. And I've talked about this many times, you know. Rest in peace is not something you put on a tombstone. Rest in peace is the natural state in which the mind can the mind is resting right now. And while it's being distracted by all these images and all this dream of illusion, the mind can rest in peace always if it simply does not believe any of the thoughts, any of the things that the mind may be thinking, or the thoughts that arise in consciousness, in mind, whatever you want to call it. So right now, this moment is what is. If there's no meaning to this, then I'm at peace with it. It doesn't matter what may be happening. Yeah, on the surface, whatever may be happening, it may appear to be sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes very, let's say, painful or whatever. But the mind can rest in total acceptance to what is, and in total acceptance to what is, the mind can even live painful experiences in peace. You see? So the peace doesn't mean that there's not going to be pain. Yeah, the human experience is pain and pleasure. But the peace we're talking about here, the peace that passes all understanding, is the awareness of what I am, and therefore, no matter what is happening around me, no matter what thoughts arises, no matter what feelings, sensations come up, no matter what the scenery may look like, there's a state, there's a space of awareness, and that is heaven. That is living literally in heaven 24/7. Okay? And that is what we're being reminded of. These videos, for example, are just basically a constant reminder of what I am, of who I am. Because in that sense, I can live in a permanent state of heaven until it's time to let go of the body, meaning until the mind is ready to awaken from the dream. So you see? So heaven is a state of mind. Hell is an illusory state of mind. See? Because in reality, all that there is this. There's no opposites. So in reality, there's no heaven and hell. There's only heaven. Because God, love, is all that there is.